Thanks, Ben. And again, thanks to all of you guys, for coming in to the Zoom here. Obviously, man, we first time in this, to go scrimmage inside the shell during our fall camp, and I can tell you, I come away pretty pleased with it. From an injury standpoint, for the most part, we're able to get through this thing without, as of right now, any major injuries, and that's always a plus when you go scrimmage. The second thing that really stood out to me with the scrimmage was just how competitive it was. As we've continued to build the depth around here, you start to see the competition and the competitiveness between both sides of the ball, but also today we're able to really get a lot of special teams work done where, for us, as we evaluate and start making decisions as to what roles guys will play, all three phases is really important to get that evaluation in as game-like situation as you can. And we were able to get that done today with a lot of young players with their first opportunity to go into the shell, some of our older guys. If there was anything that I was disappointed in, more than anything, the penalties. When you have a controlled scrimmage like this, and most of the penalties kind of started taking place at the end of it. We had a nice hot day today. We got a good amount of plays in, and I thought, as we got into the meat of the scrimmage, we got a little sloppy from a penalty standpoint. And as we continue to preach, if we want to have any chance this year, it's going to be important that we play with the type of discipline, that allows you to give yourself a chance. Because, as I always say, good teams don't beat themselves. So, impressed with the competition, was happy with the ebb and flow of the scrimmage. It wasn't as if one side just totally dominated. We really did have a chance to see the different units each have some time during the scrimmage where they really did some good things. And to me, as a head coach, that's how you like to see it in that first scrimmage. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Thanks, Coach. Reminder to send me a chat if you have a question. We'll start with Alex.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes here. Just wanted to sort of ask about the penalties there. I know you said they kind of happen later on in the scrimmage. How do you ensure that, those sort of, you get the guys that cut back on that, especially, I guess, as they start to get more tired, just from being out there longer?
Yeah, when you play a lot of players, and obviously today all four units played. We got a bunch of work with the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And so typically in the game, you don't play this many players. And then, the way scrimmages go, that break that you normally get, you don't get. So to me, the fatigue piece of it is, just part of practice. Practice should be harder than the game. Now, when it comes to the penalties, it's been the Achilles heel of this team. And, it's like, you just keep preaching it, you keep coaching it. The good thing that that we have now is if you're a guy that continues to make mistakes and have penalties, we've got guys that are playing behind these players that have the ability to come in and the talent level doesn't drop off. So, we're not going to play a guy that's going to continue to hurt the team with making, as I like to call it, self-inflicted wounds. I can deal with a pass interference, but, some of the, pre-snap penalties, lining up in the neutral zone or holding or false starts and those things, those are the ones that really kind of get into my craw. And for us, if, what we do after practice, we've started reminding them, we do some extra conditioning for guys and when they have penalties, and we'll just continue to coach it up.
We'll go to Jacob.
Hi, Coach. Appreciate your time. So something you had mentioned on Thursday was how important that transition was, from those early practices into the first scrimmage. Can you kind of, specifically those younger players, can you talk a little bit about what you saw from them, encouraging signs, anyone in particular stand out to you?
The old standout question. One, all those guys. And as I said, before, because of how these guys prepared all summer with the coaches, the player run practices, I've been probably the most encouraged by just how much of the offense, defense, and in special team systems that they know, like their carryover. The carryover is there. The speed of the game, talking to some of the young guys, the speed of the game is a little different. And that's why we want to put them in as many of these situations that we can possibly put them in going into the West Virginia game. And, when it comes to who stood out, guys, Chop, a guy that was heavily recruited, really had a good day today because of, some guys being nicked up, was able to get some run with some of the one defense and two defense, and was pleased with him. I thought the young running back Kobe McDonald and Roman Hemby both did some nice things today as young players. And I continue to be encouraged by guys like DJ Glaze and Emilio Moran with the 2-0 line. So, all in all, I thought it was a successful first time in the shell with us scrimmaging. And like I said, for me, it's always good when both sides of the ball make plays and have opportunities at different times during the scrimmage where they stand out. And, we had that type of scrimmage today, which was good.
We'll go to Jeff Erman next.
Hey, Mike, what's that competition looking like at center and that other guard spot that seems to be open?
Yeah, right now what we've done is, continue to work Jahari Branch at center, which allows Evan Gregory to compete over there at the right guard spot. And, we've been able to rotate some guys. Obviously, the new guy, Eric, coming in is ran and took some reps in there and has really been impressive, especially because he's a guy that got in here early July. Eric's been able to pick things up and a really smart player. So been pleased with the two centers and both what they've been able to do. And then obviously, at the guard spot, with Eric's development, that allows Jahari to also play a little bit of guard. We've rotated Emilio Moran inside some as a guard as we continue to look for combinations there at that right guard. Mason Lunsford continues to impress us with his development there at the left guard spot. And then fortunate enough to have both those tackles, Jalen and Spencer, with the ones.
We'll go to Dylan Spilko next.
Hey, Coach, Dylan Spilko from Testudo Times. We mentioned some of the young players before. How do you see some of those younger guys meshing together with the veterans? And just what does that say about the team's overall depth at this point in the season?
Yeah, it's a little easier now when you bring young players in to develop the chemistry with the older guys because they spend most of the summer together doing the workouts in the weight room together, the conditioning, as well as the PRPs that we host. And so I really like, as I said, that, I'm starting to see that player-driven culture kind of stand out. And I see some of the older guys taking on mentor roles with these younger players and coaching these guys through situations. When you saw the threes out there on the field going against each other, I heard a bunch of the veteran guys coaching and encouraging, their respective sides of the ball, which, you love to see. So, this young group that we recruited, they all have shown the ability, and now it's just a matter of acclimating to the speed of the game and the volume of things that we've thrown at them. We've got another week left of camp to kind of continue to put them in these situations and let these guys create some roles for themselves.
We'll go to Bruce Posner.
Yeah, Coach, a couple quick questions. Number one, how did just out of curiosity, the ones in secondary versus the one receivers? I think that's will be a battle the whole year. How'd that go today? And also, how does it feel to have a lot of the pressure off of you? COVID's not over with, but you're certainly in a much more stable condition team-wise than you were last year. Does this feel, like the practice or scrimmage today, were you any more comfortable than you've been, say, last year?
Let's go to the first one. Obviously, like you said, our secondary, I thought, was one of the more improved units of our team last season. When you added players like Tarheeb Steele and Jacorian Bennett to the mix, and then the continued development of guys like Kenny Bennett and Deontay Banks, and then the secondary with Nick Cross and Jordan Mosley, the veterans back there, and Bo Braid. It has been a really good battle. As you like to say, iron sharpens iron. And, there's been some really competitiveness between those two units. And, that's what I kind of saw today out there at the scrimmage is just, the competition as opposed to the last couple of years I've been here. It's just a lot more evenly matched. There's a lot more depth when you look at it, where it's not just this big drop off when your ones and twos go against each other as we did today. And to me, that's encouraging. As far as, dealing with COVID, I'm a knock on wood, Bruce, because, fortunately, we've all kind of taken the necessary steps being vaccinated to give ourselves a chance. But as we know, this thing is a daily battle, and we don't want to take it for granted. But I agree, for us, today we've got our parents here at the Shell, and they were able to come see the scrimmage, and then we're going to have a little barbecue with the parents afterwards. Not being able to do those things a year ago, this has been very well received, because just, as we keep preaching family around here, and, to not have to be isolated as much, and still have to be careful, still cautious. We still wear masks indoors and those things. But like you said, it's good that we've at least given ourselves a chance going into the season, because we've taken the necessary steps to vaccinate, and we've got great protocols in place. And, hopefully we'll continue to be able to continue to move forward and get our fans back here to the Shell against West Virginia. It'll be great to walk out of the Shell there and see a full house for the first time in a couple of years. And I know our players will be excited to see that as well.
We'll go back to Jeff.
Hey, Mike, at linebacker, it seems like you pretty much know what you've got with Gote and Ruben in the middle. And then I'm curious how you feel about that position elsewhere, and what the young guys, Burgess and Brandon Jennings, look like.
Yeah, I mean, we got, with Ruben and both Fanaje, who played a lot for us. And, that's one of the reasons why, as you look at how we've done things around here, we try to develop our team, every year by, we played Ruben Hippolyte last year about 20 plays, 25 plays a game, as much as we could. And it took some reps off of some of the other starters when you do that. But now it affords us the opportunity that Ruben isn't a freshman this year, because he's got enough kind of game experience. And so, with he and Fanaje's experience, and then I've been really pleased with Brandon Jennings. I mean, he's one of those heavy-handed young players, man, that exudes leadership and confidence at a young age, plays very physical. And then you throw in the junior college transfer, Jeremy Spragans, and his ability. And then I've also been really impressed. We made the position change of Osita Smith from safety to linebacker, and he's really done a nice job. So we've kind of created ourselves some nice depth there at linebacker, really athletic group that has the ability to be physical and all able to run and hit. So been really happy with the way that group's coming together.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.